Hi everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp. We're going to have a look at some of the most interesting games that have either just released or are coming out in the next week.
Yep, in terms of dates, we're going from the 27th of January up until the 2nd of February to see exactly what's coming out on the Switch in the near future. So which games are coming out? Well, let's find out. A big thank you to Red Deer for sponsoring this episode with their newest release of their game Mojito the Cat.
This latest version is called Ultimate Cube Love. This updated version includes the DLC, which has a number of new skins, including bee, bunny, chick, pig, and wait for it, a red deer. I see what they did there.
Mojito the Cat is a puzzle game where you need to navigate your character around a number of different landscapes, taking your time to find the best routes.
The game has a really nice low poly art style, and the puzzles are actually very clever. It's easy to pick up and play. It's one of those very good loading games that you can play for 5 minutes or a lot longer before you decide on that massive RPG that you want to get into. And this is one that my daughter thoroughly enjoys. The whole thing fits into about 1.4 gigs as well, so it's not going to take up too much space, which is absolutely ideal for this sort of game.
There are over 10 unlockable characters, 60 puzzles to solve, and originally 11 unique cube skins, and of course the new ones included in this pack.
All the prices are at the bottom of the screen, thanks to those guys for sponsoring this episode.
First up then we have Miniland Adventure. The blurb states that this is a game where you can do anything you want. It goes on to say there are no restrictions at all, and you start with a small patch of land, and within no time at all you can expand using biome tiles which you receive every day.
This looks really nice. To me it looks like a bit of a mixture of like a hybrid Stardew Valley top down with the Zelda graphics. I do know the Miniland series, so I think this is like another game in that quite popular series, and this looks really good. I don't know if it has multiplayer. Does it say on there?
Single player only for this one, I'm afraid. Yeah, I really like that zoomed out look. You know, you've got the pixel style which many games use these days for this type of genre, but that zooming the camera out just adds a new dimension to it for me. And it's relatively cheap. If it obviously performs well, that's £9.49 or your regional equivalent when it releases on the 31st.
Next up then we've got Teppo and the Secret Ancient City. They're always secret, aren't they?
Yeah, generic title aside, it doesn't look too bad actually. It has that kind of classic like May and Adventure feel to it, you know, those sort of games, Pitfall, that sort of thing from back in the day.
Looks like the main protagonist is basically Indiana Jones, isn't it?
Yeah,
with a boomerang.
With a boomerang instead of a whip, exactly right.
It's got one of those Donkey Kong minecart stages as well by the looks of the footage on here.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of those platformers that takes elements of classic games from the past and tries to make its own thing with it.
Having said all of that though, at £5.75 it launches with a 20% discount and that comes out on the 1st of February. Might be worth considering at that price.
Yeah, £7.19 usually. As Mark said, that discount goes up until just before launch. Yeah, for that price, maybe worth a punt.
Then we got Knights of Braveland from Miniland Games. I'm sure this is part of the Braveland series. We'll have to confirm that. But the Braveland series is actually very good. They've taken it in a slightly different direction here. It looks like it's a beat-em-up that can be played with up to 4 players in local co-op, which is always nice.
Yeah, it does say it's actually set in the Braveland universe, so you are right in saying that. And you'll be out on hunts to fight bosses, either solo or with friends, with contracts being signed to catch particular villains.
That's cool. It says here that you can actually upgrade your castle and your halls and then use the upgrades to then go out on different runs. I wonder if this is a roguelite or if it's like a hybrid.
That sounds a bit like a Rogue Legacy, doesn't it?
It does.
On that, you know, in terms of that part, the castle building section. And there are a number of different heroes that you can choose from too. It's another one that has a discount at launch, so it's £17.99 usually. There's 10% off of that price up until the launch day, which is the 1st of Feb.
Then we've got an unusually titled game called, well, it's Udo, isn't it? But it stands for, wait for it, Unidentified Drilling Object. UDO.
UDO, there we go, nice. Yeah, so it says you dig through a mysterious planet in a delicious, that's an interesting choice of words, isn't it? Delicious arcade down-scroller roguelike.
Let's just put a load of words together, shall we?
Yeah, see what sticks. I do quite like that idea. A bit like SteamWorld Dig was the first one, wasn't it? Yeah. Where you go down through the stages, finding valuables, I guess. And it's always interesting when a game does anything but go left to right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Like things like Dig Dug and other games that you actually dug in.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks like their marketing team's gone a little bit spicy themselves. I mean, it says down here, just in large capital letters, juicy, juicy, juicy. Enjoy super tight and rewarding gameplay as you unlock perks. Those juicy, juicy perks.
There we go. Delicious and juicy in a game about drilling. Who'd have thought? Well, it's out on the 1st if you are interested, and it will sell for £13.29 or your regional equivalent.
The big, not AAA, maybe AA title for next week is Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash from Bandai Namco Entertainment. And it's also the premiumly priced one at $54.99. Now, they do a lot of this style of game, you know, where they take popular anime and manga and they turn it into either like brawlers or similar.
Yeah. They're usually like arena brawlers, like you say, aren't they? Arena fighters. So it says here you'll be doing 2v2 cursed technique battles, taking advantage of the characteristics of each technique for each character to perform a joint attack.
Yeah, there's a load of words on here about cursed techniques and dreadnoughts that I've got to be honest, I don't understand because I'm not familiar with the source material, but I'm sure if you're a fan, that's probably a huge component of this world.
Absolutely, and if you are a fan, please do feel free to enlighten us in the comments section. As Mark said, it will sell for £54.99 when it releases on the 2nd.
Then we've got Postal Brain Damage. Now the Postal series has been around for a long time. I actually mentioned, I think, one of the earlier games, which is on Switch, and it just doesn't hold up, honestly. It doesn't, but it was on like a £3 sale, so I was like, for that price, crack on. Now Brain Damage takes things into the first person and makes a bit more of a coherent first person shooter, just nonsense box. Like there's things in here that are just ludicrous, and back in the day would have had it banned in seconds.
Yeah.
And now it's on a Nintendo handheld.
I know, it's crazy really, isn't it? To think of the amount of controversy that was around that original game in this series.
It's funny because I do think having a boomer shooter based in this universe is perfect.
Yeah.
You know, a 90s boomer shooter set with this level of ludicrousness is ideal. So I haven't actually played this one, so I am quite keen to see how this holds up.
Well, it releases on the 2nd of February. It will sell for £19.99, but again, it does have a discount, this one running until the 7th, of 10% off.
Then you've got Dreamcutter from East Asia Soft. They have some really interesting releases, and something about this one, I can't quite put my finger on it. Even though I wouldn't say the art is incredible, there's something about it that's I'm just finding quite interesting. I think it looks, I don't know, it looks unique enough to intrigue me.
Yeah, the character, the protagonist, reminds me of, it's like something you'd see as a character in the Skullgirls fighting games. It has that look to it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're linked at all, but just something about the art style or the character design that is reminiscent, you know?
Yeah, we've had a few games recently where there's one called Tevi, where there's kind of like merging a few different genres. It says here that it has visual novel style dialogue segments and a deeper storyline, which again, I'm quite happy to see that in this style.
Yeah. As well as that, it's a side-scrolling action platformer, but also seems to have some hack and slash elements to it too. It says here you'll run, jump, slice and dice your way across the stages.
Now that one releases on the 2nd of Feb, and it's going to be £13.49. The penultimate one then for this coming week, and a game that we're definitely going to cover in some form, it's Project Downfall from our friends Red Deer Games. Now this one looks really good. It looks like Forgive Me Father in terms of its art style. It has that semi-hybrid 3D cel-shaded look, and it's a first-person action game from what I can see.
Yeah, it's retro styled. It kind of has the scan lines, you know, like the retro filter over the top, and it also reminds me a little bit of almost like cyberspace. It's clearly cyberpunk to some description.
Absolutely inspired by John Wick. The main protagonist on that thumbnail is basically John Wick, isn't it? This is like Jim Wick.
Jim Wick.
And it looks to be almost like those action moments squeezed down into stages.
It does actually say there are 12 different endings that you can try to achieve, which is quite unusual for this type of game, with each one taking around 4 hours. It says for hardcore players to complete, whatever that means these days. This one releases on the 2nd and it will sell for £21.59. And finally for the week then, we have Torn Away. This calls itself an interactive story with a unique blend of adventure, side-scrolling and cinematic first-person levels.
AKA, it looks like an old school adventure game, point and click but without.
Pretty much. The story is based around World War II but seen through the eyes of a child, trying to survive without losing your humanity, so says the blurb.
Gotta say, the art is actually quite beautiful. If these in motion are as good as they are still, this could be actually really nice if you like this genre.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how those different genre types blend together, whether it leads to a cohesive game. But the screenshots, you're right, they're certainly intriguing, aren't they? This is out on the 3rd, the final game for the week, and it will sell for £13.49 or your regional equivalent.
1,000-mile journey. You are in for a harsh but thrilling adventure. Yes, life and destiny are in your hands. Are you ready?
So that's it. Those are the most interesting games coming out. Let us know which ones you'd like to see covered and we'll do our best.
Don't forget, if you are looking for eShop credit to pick any of these games up, you can get your eShop cards via our website, switchup.gg. You'll get yourself 5% back in cashback that you can then use against a future purchase. And there's also a link down there to Play Asia if you're looking to import any games. Again, use the link, use the code, and you'll get yourself 5% off of your order from there. A quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.